What's up, Union Arena players? This is Kyle D, better known as Unionversities. Wow, I screwed that up, but two channels, two brain waves sometimes don't always match. But without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about the tier list. So first off, let's rank everything and just give a little synopsis. Gone is still definitely probably a tier 2 deck. The deck can still do a lot of shenanigans, even in its own pure rare battle format, so it's good to see that. We do have Toshiro. I still think Toshiro's a really solid tier 2 deck, or even just tier 1, but definitely Toshi is really strong. Being able to get those finals hits in always matters at the end of the day. Purple Bleach is still really strong, even if you go raid version versus raidless, and even when we bring up raidless, they're both very strong decks. They both contend and do what the board needs to do to answer threats and everything. We know how Kurapika is. I don't think it gets knocked down just yet. I think it still can do well in locals, but people are starting to learn more and more on how to apply enough pressure into this deck. And again, rushing aggro is always super important against decks like this, you know? Zoldyck family, I definitely feel like is a tier 3 by itself. Then you have Krollo, tier 3 as well, but when you combine them and make them hybrid, they feel like more of like a tier 2 deck because they kind of just fill in the slots that they kind of just need. Specified slots definitely feels like a gatekeeper deck. It's not that bad. The deck opens up well, does what it needs to, and it shows repetitively, showing top after tops. You know, they kind of do well in locals. They'll make the top 4 consistently, but will they get first place? Probably not, but you know what? It does happen. Then you have Byakuya Kuchiki themed decks where it's like another Purple Bleach deck, right? It plays Byakuya Kuchiki, it does well and holds up quite uniquely. Yamamoto, I definitely feel like it's starting to fall out of the top 2. He's definitely a lot slower and it's starting to show. We have a lot more aggressive decks and they're all able to counteract Yamamoto's game strats. And, you know, being able to apply pressure consistently and just be faster than Yamamoto can get his energy line up sometimes does hurt it. Green definitely suffers a little bit on that. Then we have Bombers. I think Bombers are still good. They still do surprisingly well, especially if you open up well enough. This deck definitely can do some shenanigans. We'll just put it here. Now we do have some of the new cards from code Geass. This is one of the purple decks that plays a little bit lower to the ground. This is, I forget what one this is in the purple, but I definitely know this one is, man, I'm forgetting it and my brain's hurting. This one relates to the villain arc that they face in the beginning. You know, the guy that eventually kind of comes back after getting defeated. Yeah. Then we have Pizza. Pizza is good. It just definitely needs some more support. I feel like it's not the best. You can take it to locals and do well, but higher events won't really do well. This is a tough one because I probably should have put 1.5 and this would be the only one. Ashford Academy. This one, even with the Nonali, because Nonali got removed, is definitely sitting right here, I think. This is just pretty solid. I think it's actually a top, like either very bottom of tier 1 or, you know, very top of tier 2. It'll definitely do what you need. The Lush Colin, you know, C2 deck, this deck right here, this one's opening up to be really nice. You want to see this one. Definitely a strong deck out of the gate. Then we do have a little bit of a different version of the Suzaku deck. This one is focused on the guards a little bit more, where they try to get up to 35s and they kind of just play a different little lower to the ground strats. And I feel like it's good, but you know, it's going to take one of those confident pilots. Same with this one here. They're both guard based, you know, themes, but you know, we just have to see. Mahito, the Mahito Ghetto deck, I still think it's pretty solid, actually. Can do really well into the format because the aggression it applies, and I think players are just sleeping on the deck because, again, the deck has great aggression and we'll see it. Megamine I definitely put here on my old tier list. After seeing people actually adapting and learning how to play the deck and showing it off more and more, I think it's definitely a solid tier 2. Yellow bleach, just natural raid, I think it's good, but definitely needs more support. Kento Nominee's version of the blue Sukuna is definitely really strong, actually. I feel very confident on it when I pilot it, so I have no issues with saying it is definitely a tier 1. Then we do have Gojo. Gojo's deck is definitely a very solid list as well. I think when you can use domain expansion for free, you know, be able to refund all the stuff you use just to play the Gojo is ridiculously strong, and being able to do all this stuff for basically when he comes in for that 2 AP is really nutty. Sukuna's still great, crazy strong deck. We'll definitely say their Kurapika is definitely falling behind onto the tiers ones. This is the basically Oklahoma deck, aka just lower to the ground Toshi that just plays Kenpachis and Toshiro. Doesn't play the Unohana in it, so it's still really solid. I don't see this deck going anywhere. Toto's definitely pretty solid. I think it's definitely a tier 2 deck. Definitely plays well into the tier 2 format. Once it starts getting to the tier 1s, it struggles a little bit just because they have better removal and answers than Toto at the moment. Toto has at least everything it needs. It has 2 forms of removal in a shape that really does help out, you know, and that's usually what classifies making a deck good, right? You just have 8 removal cards in the deck base. Then we do have Suzaku Green. This deck is definitely really strong. Would I say it contends with, like, I want to say Bleach is still better than most of the crowd, but if we do really want to say, I think this is how it's really shaping up. Suzaku is just really good. Again, plays into the right energy lines, you get to the right stats, and you're really solid. And I think really at the end of the day, you know, Suzaku is going to do what Suzaku wants to do. I think being able to have a very powerful boss that you have to be answering almost immediately when it comes in, or else this thing's just going to punish you left and right, is ridiculous. I think a lot of players are going to probably jump on these two real quick. I'm jumping on the Ashford Academy list because I want a red deck, to be honest with you, and I'm very excited to play red, and that's really big for me. And I know a lot of players wanted pieces to be good because, again, why not flex on that C2 you have, right? But, you know, that's another thing. Then we do have Raidless Bleach, and that is our gatekeeper as well. I think Raidless Yellow Bleach is pretty solid, can do a little bit of good stuff when it comes down to it, and all that goodies here, you know, just being able to apply pressure consistently is always vital, right? So, you know, like I said, you have the top ends here, looks like, you know, 2 Sukuna builds, 1 Kento version and 1 Sukuna. You have Bleach, we have, you know, Renji, Raidless Bleach, then you have Suzaku, then you do have the version of the Colin Lelouch deck, and then you do have Kurapika. Like, these are our big boys, and I think we'll see these are going to be the most contenders of our, even our just regional events, because this is what you're going to be walking into for the big nationals, Bandai Fest. So just keeping this in mind, it looks really good like this. I'm really excited to say that's our big top one. This one definitely can be here, Ashford Academy, or here. I think the deck, we'll just have to see how it goes, but if players really adapt well to the aggression style, and again, you're playing really interestingly, and that's going to be really big here. Again, all these rush variant decks start doing really well, and they'll start moving up quicker and quicker as well as time goes on, because anything mid-rangey loses out to the rush, and that just kind of just blends in quite well. You know, these are the other 2 decks that I have very questionable ability on. I don't know if they're going to stay here, but definitely I feel like, again, we have a bunch of gimmicky on the bottom end that just takes a little bit of setup to do. And like I said, the Zoldyck and Krollo fusion deck would be right here. But I didn't figure out an image for that one. But taking a look though, hopefully you guys enjoyed this tier list. Let me know down in the comments. And guys, tune in for tomorrow's video where we do every new deck style video where we take a look at every new code Geass deck. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.